Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Wealth for Life's Facebook Live. This Tuesday, the 2nd of October, 2018 already.
Yeah.
Really excited about this episode of Facebook Live. I'm interviewing one of my staff members, one of my employees, one of my proteges, and one of my favourite people in the world, for a matter of fact. And this is Kayla Smith.
Hello, hi.
And I'm just going to get Kayla to share her story with you. This is someone who has done remarkably well in the area of real estate and business, and it's kind of gone against the grain in terms of what most people would do at the age that Kayla started. So I'm looking forward to this interview. I'm going to get Kayla to share everything with you. So welcome on board, Kayla. Thanks for joining me. Took me a while to actually get you here.
Yeah, it did.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm just turned 29. I am the general manager at Wealth for Life and also the finance company that we run. I'm a mum. I have a beautiful 2-year-old, Hayden.
Yeah.
And I have I've been married for 3 years now. I have a beautiful partner who supports me. And yeah, I've been, I suppose, in the industry, in the property industry for over 10 years now.
Wow.
I'm a successful, property investor. I've done renovating to buying to looking at developments. And yeah, so I've done a lot in, I suppose, my short lifespan.
And that's the thing, how did, so you would have started when you were 20, 21?
Yeah, 21. Yep.
So tell us how you got started, what made you look at property at the age of 21?
Yeah, so look, I think for us, it was a bit of a wake-up call. We, at 21, we saw that, our parents, they were living that typical Australian dream, but we thought that actually it wasn't really the Australian dream. There was a flaw to that.
Yeah.
The fact that, when we were growing up, we were very lucky, we were very fortunate. We had everything we wanted, but, when times came where, we might want to go on camp or we want to buy those expensive dancing shoes, that it was always something that, had to be saved for. It became, we could start to see the stress, we could start to see, the arguments and things like that. And as I suppose a 13-year-old or 14-year-old, you can't comprehend that. You don't understand why is that such an issue. Why can't, you go on that expensive camp, or why can't you do these things? So that's something that, both on my partner's side and on my side, that we saw that while our parents were that typical, Australian couple living that dream, they both had, houses, they worked, 6-7 days a week, they did all these things, we went on trips and, family holidays, but it still wasn't sufficient. I couldn't see that was going to be the life that I wanted to live, or I didn't want my kids in the future to live that type of life, that we would have to pay for things and save for things and lay by, and I didn't understand, I didn't get how that could be so desirable.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, we always talk about that, it's, people have this false sense of financial security when they're working, right? Because you work, you get money, you spend it, you try and put some money aside. So life doesn't really have too many financial challenges whilst you're working.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, you want to know the definition of wealth? Take away your working income and then work out how long you can, how long before you run out of money. And that's the thing, a lot of people find this out too late. Obviously not yourself, you saw this at the age of 21. But tell me, what were your friends doing at the age of 21? Here you are, getting into property, investing in real estate. And I mean, I know, what you've done and what you've achieved, right? But what were your friends doing at the age of 21?
Yeah, look, I suppose we went against the norm. Most of our friends, and even, friends that we went to school with and people that we knew of, they're partying and going out, and that's not to say we didn't do some of that, but a lot of them were traveling overseas or doing the university or the gap year, and we didn't really have that luxury. We couldn't do the overseas travel because we were paying off a mortgage. This was our first home that we got into. So it was, I suppose, we had to sacrifice a lot because, at times we did feel like we're missing out, but we just keep reinstating why are we doing this. We had a very grounding purpose.
Wow.
And the purpose, I suppose, that, you know, that came out, you know, for myself and for Troy, my partner, was that if we don't take responsibility for our financial future, then, you know, one, no one else is going to. But if we don't at this point, we're going to repeat basically what our parents done and the parents before them, and we're never going to change. We're never going to be the generation that changed.
Yeah.
So, you know, we thought a lot about kids that we didn't even have at 21. We weren't married. We didn't even know if that was even going to happen. But, you know, it was something that we thought, you know what, we've got a chance. There's an opportunity here. We can go out and party and you know, blow our money and go shopping and do all those wonderful things, or we can put it towards something that we knew worked. We knew we could see that property in Australia at that point, you know, with our parents, that their houses had doubled, they had tripled, that we could see that there was equity in there, being that, you know, what they paid for it, obviously, that, you know, it had enough growth that they had the equity in there. But the problem we could see is that they weren't getting their money to work for them. It was trapped in there, and we saw that opportunity, and that's where we ran with it.
It's funny because, you know, you look at that lifestyle a lot of people lead, you know, it's in that 17 to 21 where, you know, it's like you just can't wait to hit the world, right? But, you know, here you are right now, and you made those sacrifices, right?
Absolutely.
You can do all that stuff now and in abundance, right? You can go wherever you want, buy whatever you want, travel at your own leisure. You kind of don't have, you know, you've set yourself up. You say your priorities was the thing for you. You got your priorities right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What were I mean, you're a 21-year-old, right? Getting into the property market. You're saying you weren't married. You're on your own, one income. What were some of the challenges you faced?
Yeah, well, I was with Troy at the time, so, but again, we're on very low incomes. You know, that was one of definitely the things that we faced. But what we worked out is, you know, we started, you know, a savings plan, and it was just little steps like that, you know, that we started to go, good. If we did have a mortgage and we wanted to purchase a property at, you know, X price, what would the payments be? And we worked that out, and then we kept putting in, you know, into a savings account those mortgage repayments, so the bank would start to see that history. Because being 21, we didn't have a car loan, we didn't have a credit card, we didn't have a history. And that was something that was obviously key to getting a loan, is having a good credit history, so we could show that obviously through savings. But it's a lot of sacrifices that had to be made to get to that point, whether it's, you know, working 7 days a week, taking on 2 or 3 jobs. You know, even when we moved into our first house, you know, we had a $20, you know, couch from Gumtree, and that's what we started off with. We just did what we had to do. We didn't have anything, you know, luxurious or anything wow. It was just whatever we could afford. We put it together, and we made a start. Instead of sort of sitting there and doing nothing, because the result would be zero anyway. And yes, we did feel like we missed out on things, but that was always the plan. If we get our money working for us and we get it right now, we have enough time, we have time on our side, which is the benefit of doing it while you're young, so that in the future we knew that at one point in our life, if we did this correctly, we could travel anywhere and do anything and have anything. And last year we were able to do that. We went to the US, and we didn't have a tension on money. We didn't have a tension on how much do we have to spend and what's our budget. We could just do what we wanted to do because we worked so hard. And that was the reward, that's the payoff of all that hard work.
You got your money to work for you. What we always advise and what we always preach at Wealth for Life is get your money to work for you, right? So one day you don't have to work for money. So what were some of the key things you learned along the way? Because it's been a
journey.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
It's, you know, like, I suppose one of the biggest things is we got comfortable at a certain point, because we went pretty hard, you know, from 21 onwards, reinvesting. You know, we did everything from, you know, pulling the equity out to then obviously purchasing, you know, the next investment and so on. We had to put a lot of hard yards in. We were doing, you know, taking off 60s wallpaper and renovating. We've painted, we've done everything, ripped up lino, like we've done it all. And I suppose we got to a point that we were doing so well. Obviously the market was booming at the time, and then we sort of, you know, rested a little bit. And we bought into what people were telling us, like, you're doing too much, you've got to slow down, you're working 7 days a week, you know. And that was probably one of my biggest mistakes, because I bought into that, you know, into that whole concept and that whole idea that I was doing too much, or enough's enough, or I don't eat anymore. And that's probably what's affected, you know, me to this point, because I know if I had have just kept going, I would have been better off. You know, we're doing this, you know, for a big reason, you know, with especially with my son now being born, you know, he's number one, and it's my responsibility, it's my duty to provide, and the same with my partner, to provide for our family and make sure that we're going to be all right. And you know, that's something that, you know, don't let anyone, if that's your goal, that's your dream, don't let anyone get in your way and stop you, and surround yourself with people that are on board with that. If you know your closest friends and family are telling you to stop and slow down, then you probably need to reevaluate, because really it's either they're on board or they're not. You know, and that's, I suppose, the biggest thing, you know, with having you also as my mentor is, you know, never once have you said stop or slow down. It's always go hard, play hard, hustle, and you will get the life that you want, and you'll live your dreams. And that's what we're doing. We've been able to purchase, you know, our beautiful new home that we're excited to move into. We're close to the city now, and everything, we're just ticking the boxes now, and it's the rewards paying off, the hard work's paying off now.
And you're 29, and yet it doesn't sound like there's any intention for you to slow down, right?
No, if anything, you know, I feel that I'm actually really behind, if anything. You know, I'm nearly 30.
You undersell yourself. You've done remarkably well, right? But you know that there's still more you want to achieve.
Oh, absolutely. If I could have, I wish someone, you know, came to me at 18 or at 16 and said, get your money to work, because the reality is you're not going to get rich or wealthy or be in that top 1% that will retire wealthy if you don't start early. You know, the benefit of being young and investing and putting your money to work is that you have time on your side.
Beautiful.
You know.
And tell me, so what would you say to the 21-year-old watching this video now, right? Think about it, there's a 21-year-old right now that's finished school, about to hit the workforce, you know, they're probably, you know, getting ready for that teenage years and, you know, the stuff that people do. What would you say to a 21-year-old who's watching this video?
Yeah, look, if they want to change their life and they want to go against the norm, you know, they're actually technically, if they're working and they're not putting their money to good use and they're not investing, they're already almost too late. They need to start. They should have started as soon as they started working. You can work, you know, from 16 years of age, get your money, get a house over you, you get a roof over you, get security, and start creating your, you know, your financial future. You know, the powers with, you know, the 21-year-old have all the choices and all the time in the world, but unfortunately, you know, it's that concept of thinking that they have all this time and they don't. And if they can start doing it as early as possible, then they're going to set themselves up for a remarkable life.
It's 21. It's, you know, when we look at what we do, like I've always said that if you start at the age of 21 and you follow our plan, you could put yourself in a position where by 35, 36, you have the choice to no longer work, should you choose not to, right? And it's amazing, you know. Time's the most important thing. You know, we speak about, you and I speak about this all the time. But we'll wrap it up soon. But one last question I want to ask you, like you've built a good portfolio along the way. But you know, because there's this perception out there that, you know, you can't get into property because it's too expensive, and oh my God, I'm going to have another mortgage and another mortgage and another mortgage. Where am I going to find the money to pay the loan and all the expenses? But you know, that hasn't been like that for you. What have you learned? What would you talk about with regards to that?
Yeah, look, I think that if there's a will, there's a way. If your purpose is, you know, strong enough that, you know, it's whether it's, you know, we had people that would go out, you know, to a restaurant and we would see, this is one example that sticks in my head that keeps me going to find a way, to find how do I do this or how do I save. You know, we were sitting there, myself and Troy, and you know, we had a mother, and you know, the child was ordering from the menu, and the child basically said, you know, I want this, you know, I like this for lunch, and Mum turned around and said, actually, that's too expensive, you can't have that. And that's where that gets you, you know, right in the heart. That hurts because we're just like, wow, we can't make that mistake. We need to get this right, we need to fix this, because we don't ever want to be put in that position. So if you have a strong enough purpose, why would you want to do it? Because it's never about the property.
Do it for your kids, right?
You know, do it for you, exactly. And if you can help out your kids, or, you know, that's, you know, one advice I suppose for parents, if they have that ability to help, you know, their kids, they absolutely should do it. If, let's say, you know, they're coming close to retirement and it might be too late for them to invest in property because they need, you know, a long runway, and they're coming up to retirement, and you've got children, go help them. You know, that, like, get them started, get them in. You know, the project that we're looking at the moment, my next property purchase is actually for Hayden. That's the purpose for it.
That's your boy.
Yeah, so that he basically he's you know, going to live in South Melbourne and right next to the university, and he's too. And we were thinking about this before he was born. You know, and this is the thing, it's that proper planning that you need to do, that you need to start getting your priorities right. You know, you are going to have to sacrifice. It's looking at things in your life that, you know, whether it's, you know, going out or going partying, or, you know, giving up Netflix. Not to say that, you know, we don't do that, but we understand that what is the product? What's the product when you sit down and watch Netflix for 3 hours? It doesn't give you any money. There's no exchange there.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to get your money to work for you and have a look at the activities that you're doing, to see whether are they making you money or are they not. And if they're not, cut them out and go get your money right. Really.
I'd love to be Hayden, a 2-year-old kid with a property in South Melbourne.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Kayla. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Like, I know your story quite well because I've known you for a long time. And it's been a pleasure to know you, to work with you. You know, you're an inspiration to so many, and I wanted to get your story out there for that reason. That, you know, you don't have, you know, like, you can change. Like, there's no rules, right? You can start this game as early as you want, and you can end as early as you want. There's no formula that says, you know, you need to be a certain age to get started, and you need to retire at 65. It's, you know, you've seen the benefits of starting early. You've had time on your side, and you've created an amazing lifestyle for you, Troy, Hayden. And the thing I love about you, you have no intention of stopping. In fact, you know, based on the conversations you and I have had, you're only getting started.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat and talk to the people out there.
Yeah.
Guys, if you've got any questions for Kayla or myself based on the interview you've done, just send them through. We'd love to answer them. Kayla would love to answer them. And thank you for tuning in and listening. If we can be of assistance to you, give us a call on 1300 793 877, or send us an email or a text, and come and have a chat to us. Have a chat to Kayla about her story and how you can get started. And, you know, listen, we're not saying that you've missed the boat if you're 20, if you're past 21, but, you know, if you don't like risk, you need to start early, because the longer you leave it, the more you increase the risk. And that's unavoidable. You know, for those that are in their 50s, getting started, their risk is much, much higher, because their money has to work that much harder. So the sooner you get in, the less risk you actually have. That's one of the ways to actually avoid risk, is to start earlier, because your money technically doesn't have to work as hard as it would if you started in your 50s. So give us a call, come and have a chat to us, have a coffee, or in my case, green tea. I'm going to try this stuff, amazing. And you know what? We just make out a plan for you and see where your starting position is and what life could potentially look like for you financially. So we'd love to have a chat to you. And tune in next week. Next Tuesday, midday, we've got an amazing topic. A question I always get: should I buy my own home to live in, or should I invest in property? Which one do I do first? Okay? And there's a lot of misconceptions around this, and I've got to tell you, I'm going to tell you my story and what I did first. And there's a lot of data out there that we get from our parents and the people that we're brought up with. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to show you how you can actually do both, but you've got to do one first. So look forward to catching up with you guys next week, 12 o'clock Tuesday, and send through any questions. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Kayla.